Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are back once again with an exclusive interview for Tru Heel's BTR Between the Ropes. This time we're talking to TNA Wrestling's own Leon Slater, one of the most exciting in-ring performers in the world today. Leon, how are you feeling today?
I'm blessed to be here, bro. I'm very, very glad to be here on this, what has been a sunny day in England for a change. So I'm very excited to be here, man.
And what part of England are you in? I'm actually I'm visiting. Well, I'm on excursion in England. I'm in England for a
Oh,
while,
wow.
so yeah, I'm over in
No
the
way.
Sudbury area. Where are you at?
I'm in Bradford right now, where I'm born and bred in the north of England.
Love it, love it. So, how does it feel to be such like a big contributor to kind of putting the UK scene on the map? You know, there's so much representative across all the major promotions, and you are representative of UK along with the reigning TNA World Champion Joe Hendry. But like, you're one of the young stars of the UK scene that has come across to the US promotions like TNA. How does it feel to be such a big representative of that scene?
It's uh it's an immense pride that I have in being from the UK because um not to not to sound like I'm whining or complaining because we all love the way it is over here, but it's not easy being from the UK and wanting to break through into America, right? Like even outside of just getting spot company, there's visa issues, there's flight costs that are way higher for us, right? So the fact that I'm one of the lucky few and one of the few that's managed to kind of cross that line, to excuse the pun, into TNA and into the States is something that I take great pride in. And it's something that keeps me working, like whether it's a day where, I'm not really feeling like going to the gym or like I'm not really feeling like designing some new gear or whatever the case may be. I have to remember that it's not just me I'm representing. It's not just my family I'm representing. It's my whole country, right? As well as Joe. Joe's leading the charge for us right now over in TNA. For TNA and the UK, right? So I'm just trying to follow suit in what he's doing, and one day I'll be in the same position he is with that belt around my shoulder.
I know that's in your future for sure. And you're so young into the game. Kind of give us kind of the story of how you got started in professional wrestling, started your training, and how that kind of journey has gone to you, for you ahead of coming into TNA wrestling.
So it's really been a spiral effect for me. Like one thing has led to another that I could have never really seen coming. The way I originally got into wrestling, was I was super close with my older cousin when we were growing up. And he like just like pretty much everyone else does, apart from us weirdos that still love wrestling, kind of grew out of it, right? Like when he was 12, 13, 14. And I was lucky enough to get all of his hand-me-downs, whether it was like the replica belts, the action figures, the video games. And it was the video games that really got me hooked on wrestling. And just seeing all the stuff that I could create, whether that was create a superstar, create a move, all the stuff that was already in the game, right? Like from that moment, I was hooked. And from then on, like I can't remember a point in my life where I haven't been into wrestling. So I imagine this is always something I would do. It was just a matter of when. And that when came when I was 9 years old, which is way too young. Nobody should be training at 9 years old. Do not follow my example. My body does not feel like a normal 20-year-old's body, I can assure you. But I managed to find a school that would let me train at 9 years old. So I got my head down every weekend. I was there in the sessions with the adults. Um, just learning and learning and learning. And then in like, I think it was 2019, I made my debut on a show that wasn't just my mom and my sister and my grandma in the front row watching. And then ever since then, man, I've just been striving to get to that next opportunity, whether it was it started out being hitting all the biggest UK promotions, whether that was North, Progress, Rev Pro. And kind of in the span of 6 months, I managed to be go from kind of having no name even in the UK to immediately like kind of ticking off the big three right there. And then from there it was okay, now I'm here. What opponents do I want to get? I want to wrestle the Speedballs, the Ospreys, the Sabres. And again, like in like another year or so, I'd managed to take all of those three names off. Okay, what's my next goal after that? Okay, America's my next goal. Boom, 6 months later, I'm in GCW. Then I'm, coming back and doing bigger things here. And then finally, TNA. come to the UK for a 4-day tour. And at the time, Josh Alexander was still with us, and I was lucky enough to wrestle in front of Josh on an indie show called Sovereign Pro Wrestling. And he was on that show, and he had taken his time to watch my match and taken the time to speak with me about it afterwards. So we just kind of kept in contact from there. So when Impact at the time came over to the UK, I remember getting the DM from him, and he was like, "Okay, they want you for this day," and my mind was blown. I was like, "Oh my God, my life's about to change." Da, 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 da. It was 1 out of 4 days, and then he messaged me a couple days later. Okay, they want you for 2 dates now, and I was like, "Oh my God, like this is crazy." Again, same thing. Couple weeks passed, couple days passed, whatever it was, and he came. Okay, they want you for all 4 days. I was like, "Oh my God, like I'm in." And at this point, I wasn't in.
Yeah.
I didn't have a contract, nothing was on paper, but I'm thinking I'm the only UK person with all 4 dates, and they haven't even seen me wrestle yet. So we get to the UK tour, we get to Coventry night one, I think was October 27th, if my memory serves me right. I wrestled Frankie Kazarian, and after the match, Scott Demar's music hit. And I was told that it was going to be setting up the main event for the show that night. I had no clue what was going on until Scott whipped some paper out of his pocket and a pen, and he turns to me and goes, "Leon," and I go, "What?" I lost my mind, man, in front of like almost a home crowd for me. You know what I'm saying? Here in the UK to get the opportunity here made it even more special. And ever since then, I've been rocking and rolling with TNA, man, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, you just keep going to new high after new high in TNA wrestling, especially to start off 2025, where you've been working so closely
Yeah.
with the Hardys and just like being able to perform with Matt and Jeff and get that guidance, get that advice for them. How has it been that experience with, I'm sure you, like me, were a fan of the Hardys growing up. So, how does it feel to work so closely with them and kind of be their protege right now on TNA wrestling?
So, like you just said, the Hardys were my guys growing up, bro. My number one, the Hardys were for me. So to not only get to kind of be under their wing one time, but to continue to be under their wing in a place like TNA where I grew up watching it, right? It's something I hold very, very close to my heart. And I think this is a time in my career that I'm going to look on fondly in a couple of years when this time is over. So every time I see Matt and Jeff, like not even when we're just in the ring together, like whether they walk in the building, whether I see them in the locker room, I'm pinching myself like, wow, that's the Hardy sat over there. And then when I'm in these music hits. I'm like, "Right, that's the Hardys over there." So I very much appreciate this is a extremely special time in my career and in my life right now, like getting to work with my heroes. There's not many 20-year-olds that can say that in whatever profession they're in. So I'm really just trying to enjoy every moment of it and really be a sponge to all of their knowledge that they've had over their 25 plus year career now. So yeah, man, I'm enjoying it and I'm just trying to take as much knowledge as I can.
So, what would you say is like the biggest thing you've learned from them so far, working so closely with them and getting that guidance, in the backstage with what you do on screen? What's been the biggest thing that you've gotten from Matt or Jeff?
So I think the biggest thing for me is just believing in being yourself. You know what I mean? I think from day one, like even before I met Matt and Jeff, and this has only been reassured since I've met them and been reinstated since I've met them. Um, there's no one like Matt and Jeff. You can't point out another tag team in history that's come before them that has been like them. Of course, there's a bunch of people after them because people are trying to imitate, right? And I think just their uniqueness has shot them to the level that they're at right now. So for me personally, a goal of mine has always been to be unique. And I don't really think I realized where I got that goal from, or like it was more of a subconscious thing until I met Matt and Jeff, right? So once I met Matt and Jeff, they just reassured me of kind of everything that I'd believed about them and almost the thoughts that I've been believing about myself. So that's something I take great pride in. Like you'll never see or you might see in the future, but as of right now, you don't see another person coming out with the full zip hoodie. You definitely don't see another person doing a Swanton 450. These are things that are unique to me. And these are kind of traits that I've learned off Matt and Jeff and being able to not only work with them, but work by their side and watch them closely and see how they operate.
So, like you said, the Swanton 450 is just amazing to watch. And you had that
Thank you,
great
brother.
moment at Sacrifice off the steel cage doing the Swanton 450. How the hell did you come up with that as a finishing move? Because I know there's a story to that.
So, again, like going back to my early days in training, right? I was always either practicing in a wrestling ring, whether that was 450 swanton bombs, and like again, the Hardys were my guys, so I was always doing swantons, whether that was in a ring, on a trampoline, in a um on grass, you know what I'm saying? Like we all were. So I've been doing like swantons forever. And as I kind of grew into my body more and I got a little bit more athletic as I got older, um, that started transitioning to 450s. And a 450 has been my finish since I was 11, right? So when I realized that I kind of had the athleticism to start blending the two, I was going at it in training, like week after week, day after day. I was training not just to get it to the point where I can do it once, but where I can do it every single time flawlessly. So it started with like doing a 450 and just poking my head out. Then the next week I'd come back and see if I could get my head out and then get my arms out. And then I see if I could get my head, my arms, and my legs, and then practice, 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 practice. And it's turned into what it is now, which is my own unique creation.
Yes, it's such a stunning move to watch. It's always spectacular whenever you hit it, whenever you bust it out. Like I said, that moment at Sacrifice was probably the best moment of the entire night on
Oh,
that
thank you,
show.
man. Thank
So
you so much.
love what you're doing over there. And you have a big opportunity coming up at Rebellion, where you're going to be competing in your first, your first in TNA as an official roster member, Ultimate X match. So you said you grew up being a TNA wrestling fan. How does it feel to be in such an iconic matchup that is so exclusive to TNA wrestling, such as the Ultimate X, where you'll be vying for the X Division Championship?
It's huge to me. I can't overstate how much not only the Ultimate X means to me as like a TNA kid, but the X Division belt means to me, especially because this is my second chance to make history and become the youngest X Division champion in TNA history, right? Um, so to get the chance not only to make history in my own way, but to be a part of a history-making stipulation like the Ultimate X is incredible to me. And I can't wait, just like I did at Sacrifice, to try and make my own moment out of it, right? And create something that's going to live forever and something that I've really come to appreciate is the TNA Plus app as well. Because for me as a TNA kid, it was either you would catch it on Challenge or I would try and catch the clips on YouTube. Especially for those of us in the UK that didn't have a channel called Sky Sports, which is like what Raw and SmackDown were on. Especially for those of us that didn't have that subscription, it was Challenge, it was I think Spike at one time, or it was YouTube. So to have everything now in one place on TNA Plus where you can watch it globally. I'm so excited and so happy for the new generation of TNA kids that have not only every TNA Impact that we air every week, not only the live plus specials, not only the pay-per-views, but like I think we have like over 6,000 hours of backlog and all the previous TNA stuff like over the last 20 plus years. So to have that all in one place, um, where I can go back and watch not only for childhood memories, but to study and learn how the Ultimate X match works, what it does to people, what people do to it. You know what I'm saying? Heading into Rebellion on April 27th, it's been a huge tool for me in preparing for this match.
Yeah, you got to do your background. You got to learn all the different tricks that you can pull off on that Ultimate X. I'm looking forward to watching you. Moose defending. We also got the announcement that
Yep,
Matt Cardona is going to be a part of that matchup as well. But you mentioned, being a kid, being able, they had Raw and SmackDown on Sky Sports, but now with TNA Wrestling, you have that association, that partnership with
yep.
WWE, and there's a wide open door for the possibilities that can happen with crossovers between TNA and WWE. Who would be on the top of your list as far as the WWE NXT roster? Who would you want to go one on one with in a TNA ring or over in NXT?
So I think my answer would probably be the same as everybody else's answer when it comes to this question. It would be Javon Evans right now for me. Um, I think we are living almost two parallel lives right now.
Yeah.
He's absolutely killing it over in NXT, and I'm definitely making my mark on TNA. So in our own respective brands, we're changing the game, right? And there's two 20-year-olds. I think he's a little bit older than me. But right now we're both 20, right? And I think like right now we're two of the wrestlers that are at the top of people's conversations of best young wrestler in the world, right?
Yeah.
Um, I believe I'm the best young wrestler in the world, and I'm sure he thinks the same thing, right? So I think that's a very interesting situation to put us both in where we can really find out who is the best young wrestler in the world. So that for sure is the matchup that first springs to mind. But again, like I've got my eyes on the whole roster, whether that's Oba, Trick, Ricky, whether that's the Fraxium guys, right? Like I got my eyes on that whole roster, but I think the most intriguing matchup for me and like probably the matchup that people want to see out of me the most would be Javon.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are kind of like, yeah, living like those parallel life. That's a great way to kind of say it because, he's bouncy. You're bouncy as well. You're the youngest
Yeah,
in charge. He's the youngest in charge over there. So it kind of
yeah,
works
yeah,
in so many different ways. But I wanted to
absolutely.
ask you because I think you said something great that you got into wrestling because of the wrestling video games. And what I usually ask a lot of the TNA wrestling stars is their Mount Rushmore of different things. What would be your Mount Rushmore of the best wrestling video games?
Damn. Okay. Okay. So this is a tough question for me because I know people are gonna get on my ass about, oh, he didn't mention Here Comes the Pain. He didn't mention No Mercy. Bro, those games came out before I was born. Okay. So I haven't played any of those games. I'm gonna set that precedent now.
Yeah.
For me, as someone born in 2004, okay, my favorite wrestling games of all time, number one would definitely be SmackDown versus Raw 2008. That's my first wrestling game I ever
Nice.
owned. That's probably the game that got me into wrestling and is the reason where I am right now. Um, Number two, I would probably say is 2K14, just because of the 30 years of WrestleMania mode. I
Yes.
love that. I love that mode growing up. And I think that was the first 2K game, so it was the first 2K showcase. That blew my mind when I was little.
I wanted to ask you
Um,
one question. How
yeah,
many
please.
times did it take you to beat the John Cena versus Rock final portion of that? I have PTSD of that part of the game.
Bro, so I remember vividly, like I got the game for Christmas when of the year it came out. Um, I was playing it. I was playing it. Boom, 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 boom. I got to Rock and Cena. I got stuck in it for 2 weeks. I left the game alone for 6 months. I came back, still couldn't beat it. I left it for another 3 months, and then I finally came back and beat it. So that took me like almost 9 months to complete out of frustration about not being able to do it. So to the Rushmore, right? So I'd have SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. I'd have 2K14. I'd have 2K15. Now, this is a weird one because I don't think it's one of the best ones, but it was the first time I remember a new console coming out. So, like, I was kind of born when the Xbox 360 came out, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the PS3. So, like, the Xbox One and the PS4 coming out were like my first new generation of consoles. And I remember seeing the trailer for 2K15 and the graphics, and I was like, this is real life. This is real life. So I remember being so hyped to get 2K15. And I think that's where they introduced career mode too. So that's definitely up there as like a big mind-blowing experience of the new graphics. And then a fourth one, you know what? It'd probably be the TNA Impact game because I used to play that so much when I was younger. I used to love Suicide from the story mode. I remember playing all the Ultimate X matches on that game. And it just felt so different to all the WWE games at the time, you know. And I just remember as a kid loving that game a lot. So it'd be for me, my Rushmore. Rushmore's four, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm British. I don't really know. So my Rushmore would be SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, 2K14, 2K15, and TNA Impact, the video game.
I like that one. I like that one. The TNA Impact game, I just remember I used to play that a lot with my nephew. My nephew loved that game. And the
Hell
Ultimate
yeah.
X, we would play that for hours, the Ultimate X part of
Yeah.
that game. Yes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh man, you gave me, like I said, you gave me PTSD of remembering 2K14 and that rocket. I had to ask that. I had to ask that
Had me in
as a
hell,
dual
bro.
question.
Had me in hell, man. Jeez.
But thank you so much for your time, Leon. This has been such a great conversation. Had a smile on my face the entire time because your energy is very contagious, and I love that about you. But
I
let everybody
appreciate
know
that, man.
where they can follow you, where they can see you on TNA Impact, whether it be on Access, whether it be on TNA Plus, and of course, let them know where they can watch TNA Rebellion coming up on April 27th.
So you can catch me on Instagram, TikTok, and X at Leon Slater underscore. You can catch me on YouTube at Leon Slater. And you can catch me every week on TNA Impact on TNA Plus. And you can see me become the youngest X Division champion of all time on TNA Plus, April 27th at Rebellion. You get me?
Absolutely. Definitely go out of your way to follow this young man right here. He's doing big things over in TNA Wrestling, and we're rooting for you over here at Tru Heel Heat to become the youngest ever X Division champion. So, but this has been Tru Heel's BTR Between the Ropes with Leon Slater. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3, signing off until next time.